We're talking about Mile and Kate.
And it's Barbie. How do you say her last name?
I've seen video of her saying it.
Ferreira.
So Ferreira.
All right.
Oh hey.
We're back
Same clothes.
because we're talking about lots of films today.
Yeah, we're catching up on some videos. Right now we're talking about the movie Mile and Cakes, which we saw, and I don't know.
Lest you think we've forgotten you subscribers. We have not.
We've
got three for you.
We're still trying to do stuff, yes.
Mile and Kicks.
I'm going to say this is about the emerging confidence and clarity of a young woman who travels to Montreal to write a nonfiction book and ends up discovering her own voice as she navigates the local art scene and some romantic adventures.
Yeah.
That's what
And
I think it's about.
I appreciated how real it was we've all been there with a project, and boy, do we procrastinate, and suddenly you're in trouble. We've all been there. I think we're all going to be there again. Who knows?
We're
But
always there.
Certainly, I loved that plot. I loved it. I don't know why. And you know, actually, it's kind of a through line with, we just talked about K-pops, which, you know, that has a kind of, hey, life doesn't always turn out how you want.
And traveling to a new place.
Adjusting
and doing something
it's not all Hollywood movies. Sometimes
Yeah. No,
you feel like you're messing up.
I thought that this was very cool. Like, I genuinely appreciated that. So the gist of it is, and I guess this is, you know, always spoilers.
Always.
But she, her character, named Grace. Grace is in Toronto, I think, and she travels to Montreal for a summer with the plan, or possibly indefinitely, but you know, it's summertime, with the plan to write a book about Alanis Morissette and Jagged Little Pill, the phenomenon of that album and what it meant to her and what it meant to society.
Right.
And she's currently like working for like an alt weekly kind of thing, and she's sort of surrounded by, you know, like the guys that tend to be critics, you know.
And her pitch is good.
Yeah.
Like, she sells it to a publisher. She's like, this is an idea. And she's like, yeah, it doesn't sound great. I'm not hearing your voice. And her pitch was great. Like, yeah, this would be a pretty amazing book about Alanis Morissette.
And I guess there was a series called 33 and a Third.
All right. Yeah.
And so she was going to want to be one of the series. That sounds like a really good plan, a really good... Like, sometimes we put things down on paper and we're like, yeah, this is how, like, you know, there's a page up here somewhere where I talk about, like, what my daily schedule is going to be like. You know, we can lay out some great plans sometimes. And I love the editing in there where she's about to refuse some plans at one point, and she's like, oh, no, but I really got to work on my... And then it just, like, shows her at, like, the party or whatever.
Yep.
So she goes, she's, like, renting a room in Montreal. There's a little bit of like language stuff because there's this whole like you should be able to speak French.
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
thing.
Almost immediately in the film, I learned something about Canada of like, if you're not a French speaker, other Canadians hate you. I was like, oh, wow, okay.
Well, I guess in Montreal at least, or
Right.
different. Yeah, is that Quebec? Like, I don't.
Sorry, Canada.
I had a Canadian boyfriend at one point.
We're still learning. I've never met one of those scary black Canadian squirrels, though. Ooh, those guys are terrifying.
Well,
Or at least we're cute. Gray or red.
So quickly, the boyfriend of the person she's living with, he is in a band called Bone Patrol. Next thing you know, Grace is getting invited to go see this band play, and she just starts meeting more and more people throughout the movie. She ends up at, you know, band shows, poetry readings, and just kind of gets absorbed into, you know, she experiments a little bit, like she's, you know, smoking some pot, you know, she's got this whole bucket list in her notes field that she's hoping to do various things like learn French, and there's this kind of painful thing because she says like have real sex or something like that.
I think it just says have sex.
But there's some qualifier on there because she has been having sex with her supervisor.
Awful boss.
Right.
Played by Jay
Baruchel.
Who, did he even have a character name?
Yes, it was Jeff.
Oh, Jeff, right. But yeah.
Yeah, he's like...
I don't know. Just to see how sweet he is in Tropic Thunder.
Uh-huh.
And then to see how awful he is in this film, I'm like, ooh, you should play more skeezy villains. Yeah, acting. Acting choices.
Yeah, well, there's this feeling of, and I think I was having a really good time watching this movie, and also thinking about us, our channel, being like, you know, a lady and a squirrel talking about movies.
Right.
And it's not like I'm the only lady talking about movies. There's plenty of lady talking about movies, but traditionally, the people who position themselves as critics, I don't know how many ladies and squirrels. I think there's only a couple more of those combinations out there. But
come at us.
But there's a ton of, like, I'm just gonna say it, white guys with glasses and beards out there, and you know, shout out. But I think, like, you grow up, and things are constantly changing, but a lot of things have been very male dominated, and there's a kind of like there's a comfort level that guys can have in just pulling up to the I'm the expert chair, and I feel like...
And I think we wanted to change that dynamic of, we dropped ratings, and it sort of became, we don't see enough channels just talk about the film. There are lots, you know, I guess, but there aren't many that, you know, they still become a review somehow. And I know ours might sound like that to people, but I think we are trying to be the discussion. Like we always say in some of our videos, we always say we are the ride home from the theater. We're the stop in the parking lot because it's demands to be talked about before you even get in the car. It's like, we're just going to talk outside while people are going in, and you might want to warn them, like, don't go see that. Buy popcorn and go see something else. But yeah, I think...
No, but we're encouraging them to see it.
It's true. Go to the movies.
So we can talk about it.
Sorry. No, go. It might be great. You never know. Solo mio. But...
Don't make me put that thumbnail.
Oh, no. Put the tiny thumbnail down there.
Okay.
But the point being is, like, yeah, there's thousands of people on YouTube that review films. Yes. And you're like, well, what? You know, it's your opinion, and everybody's opinion can differ, so that's cool, but yeah, I want to listen to people just talk about the films, and we do that, and it's like, you can either agree with us or not, that's cool, but yeah, it's like, when people go, well, and I think we've had one comment go, well, what makes you experts? It's like, we never said we were experts. We're not. We've just watched lots of films and can tell you, hey, this works, this doesn't. How come this hasn't changed in years? Bechdel test. There was another one. Oh, it just escaped my mind. There's another test. Dang it. Anyway, Bechdel's an important one. That kind of thing.
Okay.
All right, rant over. I'm going to get off my soapbox. Sorry, I really probably threw you. You were making a point, as usual.
No.
Back to Mile End Cakes.
Just that, like, seeing her story as, and we actually missed, like, the first, like, you know, I don't know, 2 minutes of the movie. They really didn't show trailers in front of this like they normally do. So we got there before the opening credits, but we may have missed just a smidgen at the beginning, but I feel like we can understand what it was. And we were going to see if we could watch it again, and that was actually the very last showing of the movie in our town. So we couldn't do that. We have to wait for streaming to see the exact opening. But the idea is probably there's this guy, the gaggle of guys at this alternative weekly, and they're all just this kind of like tastemaker, echo chamber kind of thing. And I think, as you know, anybody who's, well, the real life writer director, Chandler Levack, was an arts and entertainment writer, and she also directed music videos. And I think anytime as a woman, you enter into a field that's male dominated, and that's practically every field. You know, there are going to be certain times where just in society and culture, people are telling you what the best stuff is. And there's all these like the best songwriters of all time lists and stuff. And it's always typically white guys
right
listing white guys. Ugh. And so maybe us getting away from numerical ratings is part of that. Also, I think there's times when I was like, I just don't want to hear it anymore. And like, what's kind of funny is that my daughter's now recommending music to me that maybe those same guys back in the late 90s or whatever, that same profile of guys was telling me these are great. And then my daughter's like, these are great. And I'm like, okay, I'm willing to listen to it now. Like, I think for sometimes I just didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to be issued what my tastes were supposed to be. And I feel like that is at least pertinent to this movie. Yeah. Also, I just love, I love this world that we get like dropped into. We're sort of just like riding along in her pocket, you know, just getting to have these sort of coming of age type adventures with her. And she's a real likable character. She's just kind of gentle, friendly, thoughtful, kind of maybe slightly passive and having to learn to be a little more active or something in her own story. But I think that's kind of the process of discovery in the movie. And not that she doesn't take initiative. So she goes to this band show and she sees Bone Patrol and instantly is...
And not since Sex Bob-omb in Scott Pilgrim have I enjoyed an indie band that when it looked such a location, I was like, are they supposed to be terrible? And then the song was good.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, they're not supposed to be terrible. They're actually going to go places. And I was like, oh, this is some cool music. And then we get to meet the band members and you're like, oh boy.
Well, so,
or at least the main guy, oh
right.
boy.
We've already like not sure about the drummer. And then, we see the bassist getting kind of harassed by the singer right away. So he seems like a quirky, decent little guy over there.
Right.
And then we have the lead who is...
Was it Casey?
Chevy,
that's it.
Chevy. Sorry.
Chevy.
Sorry. I was trying to say it right and I said it wrong. Chevy, like Chevy Chase. Yeah, Chevy is the singer. And then there's also Archie, played by Devon Bostick of Daru Wimpy Kid fame.
Oh,
he was...
I did not know that.
Roderick.
But he gave me shades of Alex... Oh, I'm forgetting his last name, but from Blur, the guitarist in Blur, who now like owns a farm and makes cheese. But just the way he talked, I'm like, oh, when you see like Damon Albarn from Blur talking, you're like, all right. Sorry if you're a Blur fan, but I'm like, all right, Damon, give it a rest. But then when Alex talks about being in Blur, you're like, oh, I could listen to this guy talk forever and tell me about cheese. So he comes across as such a sweet soul. Oh. And then Chevy's like just one of the best movie villains ever. That's how I would classify him. He's so awful. And even our main character, Grace, gets told, like, yeah, he's the worst person in Canada. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of mean. Oh, no, he is.
And she didn't listen. Well, yeah. Okay, so here's who Chevy reminded me of.
Okay.
Joe from Say Anything.
Oh.
I've written 64 songs about Joe, and I'm going to sing them all tonight, or however many songs she wrote about Joe. And then, like, Joe's kind of in the periphery of the party, and then he tries to, he tries to get back with her. He reminded me of Joe, and he also just reminded me of so many people that you've run across over the years. He has like what I thought was so fascinating in the sort of diegetic music of this, when the music is,
Oh, sure,
I'm
sure.
trying to learn this term, when the music is part, I've heard, other people using this term, when the music is part of the movie, like Sing Street or Begin Again,
Right. And then it gets like turned off mid dialogue or something like, oh, the song was actually in the scene.
But I liked, she is a music critic, and she knows a lot about music. She thinks deeply about music, and then she sees this band, and this guy is like, I thought that in the songwriting they kind of, and his performance, Stanley Simons, did an amazing job of playing this character of Chevy.
Amazing.
And he was somehow, I was like, his lyrics are confusingly either profound or stupid. It's that kind of thing where you're like,
Yes.
Is this the most brilliant thing I've ever heard? Or was this just kind of a stupid thing? And his performance of it is his delivery is confident, and you're like, is this guy the deepest guy or the most shallow guy? And that's kind of like this major confusion in the movie. And I love that they have him wearing a dress, which back then would have been like probably, like the most, rock and roll kind of thing to do. It seemed like a very like Nirvana type thing to do,
And when he's on stage singing, it really does seem to come from the heart. Like he gets, very passionate. And it's like, yeah, you're right. It's like, is he really deep?
Right.
Or is he this moron? What is
right?
He's so awful in person, and then gets on stage and you're like, yeah, you can see why rose-tinted glasses go on a lot of people.
Right.
All staring at him going, you're amazing.
Right. And she's like, he's singing about, she realizes he's singing about her. Like, I slept in my jeans, and then she's like, both like as a music critic, someone who loves music so much, she's like, kind of like, whoa, he's singing about me. I'm in this song. You can see she's like thrilled by it. But also like, what are these super messed up like interactions she keeps having with this guy? Like whenever she tries to kind of hook up with him or whatever, it always goes like horribly wrong. So she's trying to figure out how to feel about him. Meanwhile, Archie is from the very beginning, like, he's just like sitting there. He's willing to talk. He's just kind of like, he's kind of easy to talk to.
He listens.
He's calm.
Yep.
He listens. He's also like, he suggests they go on some shortcut, and she was like, this feels kind of rapey or whatever. I felt like the dialogue was pretty fresh, and a lot of it, like, I felt like the conversation dialogue was good, but he's like, oh, no, it's not, and then he's like, later on, he's like, oh, yeah, I'm celibate. And
for personal reasons.
And that's just like established at the beginning, so she's able to develop like this sort of platonic relationship with him throughout. And he's kind of like seems like a solid, trustworthy foil to this other guy who's kind of emotionally disappointing and dangerous. And then I thought that Archie's admitting that he thinks about her and wonders about, what her favorite melon is, and just has this whole little monologue was some of the most romantic.
Sure, yeah.
Romantic. I mean, it was up there with like When Harry Met Sally New Year's speech, when he talks about like, I think about us telling the kids to like, I'm doing suntan lotion on your beautiful freckly back while I tell the kids we need some us time or whatever.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
Like, it was so specific and great. And that I thought it was really refreshing, and that the kiss over the final credits was so like well built up to, and kind of brilliant that like they just start rolling the credits on the kiss. And I just felt like, which again, spoilers, he has oral herpes. So for her to choose to kiss him,
it's a big risk.
It's a big, like he was actually having a breakout at that time or whatever. So she's basically saying, I will join you, possibly on your oral herpes, because I want to kiss you so much, because you are like, I have really fallen in love with you because you are like a great person, and what made me probably want to come back to Montreal. So yeah, she's finally able to confront her gross old boss who owed her $4,000. The book deal, I love that the book deal falls through. I felt like that was so anti-formula.
Yep.
And I appreciated that so much because we do mess up. We do disappoint. We do miss the deadline. We do lose opportunities because we can't get our act together because we're growing.
And like I said in our previous discussion on K-pops, if you do all this setup, the payoff better be good. And in K-pops, it's like they set up that you thought Taehyung was going to win this competition. Mm-hmm. And then they pull the rug out from you, spoilers, but it's like, oh, well, I guess life sometimes doesn't turn out. And I thought, well, that seems unearned. They really built up the fact that I thought he was going to win. This film, they do the setup of, going to write this book. She's a good writer. She's smart. And then as you get to know her, the setup is, oh, the payoff is going to be earned in that she cannot do this. Like you said, the brilliant cuts of oh, I've got a deadline, cut to, I'm at a party. It's like, she's never going to start this book.
Right, she's got some good chapter headlines and stuff.
And the publisher is doing all the work, catching up with her and contacting her going, so how's it going? I didn't feel I heard your voice in the last chapter breakdown or whatever she had to do. Was it the titles? Just send us the titles of each chapter.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
And then a little bit of the book, and she's like, I'm not hearing your voice. And it's like, uh-oh. It sounds like what did she say? It sounds like Alanis Morissette's Wikipedia page. And it's like, yep, this is going to be a payoff of she is not going to do it.
Right, because I think her heart's not in it.
Right.
And she's also being a disappointing roommate.
Yep.
And she finally realizes that she's disappointing a lot of people.
This squirrel has stolen a baguette. So, we've all been there where it's like, I'm hungry and someone else has bought food. I'll just nibble a bit.
Right.
They'll never notice the end of this baguette.
I did notice. But So she kind of grows as a roommate. She grows as a, discerning woman and considering who she should be trying to fall in love with.
Yeah.
And, she grows as a writer. And by the end, she's up there reading her work for a group. And that she's on to the editor wanted to hear more of her voice, and now it's going to be all her voice, not just her interpretation in a sort of nonfiction work, but her voice completely. And I want to mention too, because you noticed, I didn't notice, but you noticed the mentioning of Matt Johnson in the credits. I'm
pretty sure, yeah, he was in the credits as a producer.
Yeah, it turns out that this screenplay was submitted. She submitted her screenplay to a contest seeking first-time female screenwriters that was held by Zapruder Films, which is Matt Johnson and Matthew Miller.
Oh.
So yeah, this was, and it had a different title. I think it was called Anglophile or something like that. Something like that. And then, yeah, it got switched to Mile End Kicks, which is the name of the shoe store where Chevy works. And the neighborhood, I guess, where all this is taking place is called Mile End, I think. It is probably that music scene. She said that this was sort of she was a big fan of Almost Famous. So that kind of
Sure.
There's definitely, you could see the connection of being a writer, getting into the world of the musicians and writing about them. Oh yeah, she's definitely kind of becomes their Chevy's just calling her publicist, rather than by her name.
They ask her to write some
a bio.
That's it, a bio for them, and she writes so well. That they're, other people are coming to the band just to see them because of her bio.
Right, and she wrote an article about them too. Yeah.
So yeah, she proves that she can be a good writer.
Yeah.
And yeah, the Alanis Morissette thing, I just love that goes by the wayside. Like real life.
Yeah. Because,
sometimes we fail on a deadline.
Because also, I think what she's saying about Alanis at the beginning of the movie was like, Alanis, didn't she say like did she say she went to Montreal and that's where she had a bunch of experiences that informed the album? So essentially, Grace goes and has a bunch of experiences that inform her career, and it diverts from the original plan, as you do. But yeah, I would just maybe as a final thought, I just think that that I would encourage males in male-dominated scenes to kind of like think about what might be almost like invisible toxicity, you know, like the things that they don't realize. It's kind of a privilege thing. Like, I remember, I was in a band and was the only female in the band, and just situations where maybe it's like we're playing a game. Someone in the band was playing a game where we're guessing like what's the next song that's going to come on the radio on like a classic rock station.
Oh.
And it's kind of like I tried to make the point like, are we guessing any women?
Oh.
Like, are we guessing any female artists? Or, why aren't we hearing more female artists? Or why aren't we expecting to hear more female artists? I think there's also just times when people would start to treat certain male artists as like, almost like godlike. And I think there comes a point where, someone's like, no female writer could ever collaborate with Elvis Costello because he's that brilliant. There's no female writer on his level. This is the kind of stuff that,
boy.
you're gonna that was a long time ago, but this is the kind of stuff that if you're not paying attention, you end up saying this stuff. And I know there's all, as a white person, I know that I'm got to be saying stupid stuff all the time, and I'm trying to catch it. But there's a lot of privilege that I am like mired in and having to like, fight my way out of and hear it and understand it and try to stop it or be anti that, and so, guys with beards and glasses, just, be cool, man.
There you go. There's the message of this film. Be cool, man. Just be cool.